Good morning to everyone. And today we're going to talk about parent involvement and mainly with one of our compliance pieces. So I want to go ahead and tell you how parent involvement kind of ties in with our compliance issues sometimes at the state level. So first we have IDEA, and then it's going to be requires the states to have like a state performance plan. It also requires the state to do an annual performance report. And then from there, the states have kind of filtered it down to the districts level, which was your indicators. And there's actually 14 of those. And the reason why we do the indicators, it helps the state keep their end on reporting, and it measures effective special education program. It's focused or compliance focused, and there's annual targets with that you've got to meet as a district level. Like I said, there's 14 of them. The first one is graduation. The second one is dropout. The third one, assessment. The fourth one, suspension, expulsion. The fifth one, educational environment, school age. The sixth one, preschool environments. 7, preschool outcomes. 8, parent involvement, which is what we're going to be hitting on a little bit today. And indicator 9, which is a disproportionate representation. Also, we have indicator 10, which is disproportionate representation in specific disability categories. Indicator 11 is child find. Indicator 12 is early childhood transition. Indicator 13, secondary transition. Indicator 14, post-school outcomes. So there's all your indicators that the district has to report on annually. So specifically today, like I said at the beginning, we're looking at indicator 8, which is parent involvement in relation to compliance. Parent involvement is the percent of parents with a child receiving special education services who report that schools facilitated parent involvement as a means of improving services and results for children with disabilities. So I don't know if you've seen this letter, and you should, this school year, is a parent indicator 8 survey letter. And if you'll see on there, this is just a sample that I put on here, but there are several ways that the parent can get on there to fill out their survey. They can go online, they can click the QR code, or they can request a paper copy of the survey. And with the paper copy, of course, the parent will need to mail that in themselves once they do the responses and respond to the survey. It's not a very lengthy survey, just basic questions over parent involvement in the ARC meetings, in their child's IEP development. How's the school supporting and providing resources for their student who is receiving special education services? Or they, actively getting a chance to participate in the ARC in the IEP development of their child? What does the school need to improve on? And there may be areas that they can mark on there. So it's just the overall, like I said, involvement of how they are participating in their child's educational program for special needs. So with our district and with KVEC kind of had the graph for us showing some targets. I think this was the beginning of the COVID and the pandemic we had. And as you can see, the KVEC region has improved with the parent involvement. The target, I think, was 80-some% overall, or 81% relatively. And as you can see, as far as the region, KVEC region, these years here that, we've responded well with that. It has it started to slack down here compared to the 19-20 school year. But then overall, Dion sent me this, and it's after all the completions were done. This is a final standing that she got with the parent involvement for the KVEC region. And as you can see, because they did extension last year on them to September to have them done. So I think when all of it was calculated, 92.1% is what we ended up with participation of our parent surveys. So you can see that overall, we did improve from the 21-20, now this is the 21-22 school year, but as you can see, compared to the others, we did improve with our participation of the surveys. So as a district, we wanted, which is Perry County for my district, we wanted to target and improve our indicator rate. So what we did as a district, we put strategies in place. And our culture, our demographic may be different from your district, but some of the strategies can be streamed to other districts as well.
I think there's a lot of similarities with folks here.
Okay.
Here from Pike County.
Yes.
And in particular the East Ridge area. And so we're so thankful to have them here with us today.
So
there's lots of similarities.
Yes, so you can kind of, feed that into your district, these techniques I'm giving you, and also, this dose, kydose.org site that I've been utilizing for some of this that you can see on my sources. I mean, they have some really good, and it's just not for directors, they have some really good insight on different things to try to help you learn about these indicators. And you're saying, well, how does that affect me? Well, a lot of these indicators do affect you because it's through your work and through parent involvement that we get some of these targets that we have to get results on. So you do impact and you do help us as a collaborational team to get this stuff done.
And the website she's alluding to is KentuckyDose.org. It has tons of information, tons of presentations, lots of resources, research. It's maintained by the SERTACs, which is the new name that we have given ourselves with the co-ops. So the one in Hazard participates in that. We can upload anything to that. We vet everything, but we have a person that takes care of that as part of the cooperative network of the SERTAC network. And we have a couple of meetings a month with particular areas of study. For example, like myself, I'm on the IEP task group, and then Doug's on the behavior task group, and so on and so forth. We have folks for low incidence, we have folks for transition. So there's lots of things that go into that that are usable for teachers, like you said. And so you were about to talk about what strategies you guys use.
Yes, I mean, as a district, we felt like, indicator 8 was an area of need for us. I know the KVEC region, they say, try to get that 25% target at least, of participation. But we still felt like as a district that parents are very essential into the IEP process, the special education program in itself. And so we wanted to make sure that we improved their participation or their access to getting the surveys completed. So what we did was first we constantly sent out additional reminders to our special education teachers and our staff. We're constantly sending emails, reminding them to make sure, that they're reaching out to their parents about this indicator 8 parent survey, and that, they're providing or, asking parents to complete those. And also we utilize the other service providers to encourage parents. So we found out like our related service providers, if they had someone on their caseload that they felt that the parent was more comfortable with them on certain situations or about their child, they would reach out to the parents and they would actually offer the survey to let them complete. We did follow-up communication with parents to ensure survey completion. What we did was, we encouraged the special education teachers to reach out to their parents, and they say, well, I completed it, but then we did make sure they did a follow-up communication with the parent saying, hey, I did complete this, it's finished. We have come up with the indicator 8 caseload spreadsheet, and what that is our district has all of the indicator 8 caseload teachers, and they have to check off if their parent has completed the survey or not. I don't know how your district does it, but ours, we kind of just mainstream it from our office onto everyone else. We have DRT meeting lead teachers that kind of make sure that their school is in compliance with the surveys. So we have those spreadsheets sent to us by every caseload teacher, and that teacher, checks says, yes, we've completed it, and the parent follow up, the parents completed it or not. That also lets us know that, if there's some parents that we need to do an additional communication means with, as far as like maybe a home visit, just to, give the information to them because they're not reachable by phone, or if there needs to be some kind of other means with the DPP or something that can reach out to those parents that are not completing them. We're taking advantage of all parent-centered activities at the school events. We do, award nights. There were some celebrations at schools over their testing, district testing, as well as some state assessments that were given. If parents attend those, ask the parent, hey, can I talk to you just for a minute? Especially that parent that's having issues of completing it after multiple attempts. Approach the parent and see if they'll do it there at that event and have, a device ready for them to complete it on, or their cell phone, whatever it might be. Embedding parent survey completion time after ARC meeting agendas. After you do your ARC meeting, and it's over and you've completely went over everything that's on your agenda, then, you might want to informally ask parents to do that during a meeting. And right there, give them time, privacy to do that, so that that they're completing them. And in summer parent survey checkpoints per school, what we do is we go back to that spreadsheet I talked about with our district. And over the summer, while everybody's gone, I'll sit down with my other service provider that helps, and we'll look through and see if there's any that's not completed. And we'll make attempts to contact those parents over the summer before the deadline to get those completed. We also, we put that service provider I was telling you about, she's an OT and she does our Medicaid billing. She helps with the parent indicator 8. We assigned her that role as well to try to get up over the summer to help me get up with those parents. So that's pretty much what we do as a district that we put in place just to kind of make indicator 8 a focal point for us, and to try to get as much parent involvement and parent participation as possible. So, do y'all have any questions that you can think of about indicator 8?
I have a question or two. One would be, so how's it going in terms of where?
Right now?
In terms of percentage, where?
Percentage?
Yeah. Last year, how did you do?
We have got probably more at this time of year. We've got more last year than we have this year. But last year we got like a 54% or something, which we were recognized as one of the tops in the state. But this year we're struggling a little bit because of the situations we've had in our district, but we're hoping that we can exceed that amount. That's our goal.
Okay, so the race is not over yet, right?
No.
So, and I can tell you guys, I can share with you that they take it very seriously in Perry County, and they have a little bit of a competition going with some other districts. We discussed that at our directors' meetings. And so everybody's trying to, outdo the other, but what's the outcome here, Lola? I mean, what are we hoping to achieve here with this?
Well, first of all, we analyze our indicator 8. You get your results back and it's per question, and you can kind of look and see, hey, how parents are responding. So, we're turning it into a fun competition, but in the end, it's also a good reflection of our district. Of seeing what areas and needs that we're doing as far as strengths and what we're not doing as far as weaknesses. And so we can kind of restructure and make sure, especially with our new teachers coming in, that we're providing the guidance and the mentoring that we need to make sure that parent involvement is where it needs to be. So it's kind of
so
like
you're taking that data and really turning it into
yes, it's kind of like an improvement piece for us as a district.
And the research is strong when parents are involved at school. We all know that, right? When parents are involved with students, they typically do better. So, it's not just through ARC meetings, but it's, educational nights. It's all kinds of different things that may be occurring within a district that's going to include. And this has been highlighted recently because of the Indra case, and, if you've had my training before, you guys, all of you have been in one time or the other, the Indra case really, really looked hard at the fact that there was not much parent involvement in the development of the IEP. And so that's a very, very, very key piece. And I think that's why you see this particular indicator being highlighted, the strengthening of families, the relationships with schools and communities. And as public entities, we, sometimes take a hit. And so anything we can do to support our parents is beneficial, and it's going to ultimately, hopefully help the outcomes.
Our students, especially, with the flooding and some, natural disasters in our areas close around, they need all the social and emotional support as well as, the parents being involved with the students' education.
I think these folks here had just a touch of the flooding in there, on Elkhorn Creek. And so there was some experience there as well. So, like I said, there's some similarities that our districts have, and certainly a good job with your presentation. So, have you looked at your data and the impact it's had on participation in ARC meetings?
Yes, we've looked at it, and what we found is the majority of our parents, they are saying that we do a good job with including them.
Okay.
We still struggle sometimes with the actual follow-up, ensuring, the progress monitoring. We got to make sure we're focused on, keeping them in tune with the progress monitoring as well. So that piece, the follow-up, the after effects have still got to go with, the continuing of the school year, just not, doing the development of the IEP, the annual review meeting, and, it doesn't stop there. So we've got to encourage still that progress monitoring needs to be, the reporting, progress reports, that kind of thing needs to still involve parents to the max, that kind of thing throughout the whole process. So we're still struggling with that because we have a large percentage of MAT teachers in our district, and we have a large percentage of turnover rates sometimes. So it's hard to constantly renew that cycle of mentoring. I don't know how your district is, and making sure, processes are in place, and you have to continue that cycle when sometimes it's hard to do that. Yeah. So I think one of our weaknesses is just continuing that parent involvement throughout the whole year in every aspect, not just the development of the IEP, but also the progress reporting part.
Great, great, because, we've used this scenario a couple of times over the years. If a parent walks in and asks you, what is it you're doing? Why should we be involved in this program? Can you tell them what we're doing? And so that's powerful too, and to be able to understand the data and put it in terms that parents can understand sometimes, because we get in a world sometimes educationally where we have a language, and lots of times parents are, they don't, it's not that they don't know or don't have the ability to know, they don't work in it every day. So it's not, and so we have to have that opportunity to, explain to them through ARC meetings and parent nights and whatnot, what it is we're talking about and what the data looks like and how that impacts the students' growth.
And with the, some students, they tend to, fail their classes, of course, and, we need to, we always try to reiterate to our special education teachers, we need to get in there and make amendments as needed to show that we are providing what they need. If it's not working, we need to show and amend and add more support where needed.
Yeah.
And, parents need to know that.
I'm glad you said that, because I think as teachers, sometimes we look at that caseload and we say, well, okay, I've got 15 on the caseload, just throw that number out. And so that means I'm going to have 15 meetings this year. And that's not essentially the case nowadays. With the results-driven accountability that is the focus of OSEP and the focus of OSEAL, certainly we want to think about, if things are not working, have we gone back to the table? And our staff was fortunate enough to just attend National LRP last week. And when you talk to attorneys, and nobody ever wants to do that, but we go and listen to those guys speak. And one of the things is like, show me the data, show me the data or write the check. So one of the things that with parent involvement, if we can communicate to them that we are having their students in good programs, and they're working to improve, and they're receiving the access to the curriculum and all those kinds of good things. It really, really goes a long way in our overall program. And so I think you're all doing a great job with that.
And we try to tell our special education teachers too, is to give a phone call when the kid is doing good as well. Not just when you're wanting permission to do a disciplinary action to the alternative school, or when they're having to stay after school detention, or something like that. So we try to encourage that positive support with the parents the best we can.
Mm-hmm.
That way, when it comes to indicator 8 completion, the parent's going to provide a lot of support on getting that completed on time, or supporting you when you have to talk critical decision that you have to bring up during your ARC meetings with the parents. They're going to offer the more input, they're going to offer more support and concern to making sure that their child is succeeding. So we try to make sure we're building those positive relationships as much as possible.
This is a great follow-up to our last meeting, and where we were talking about ARC and how to treat parents in ARC meetings for tremendous tips, and those PowerPoint presentations are available on your QR code. You can pull any of the information up if you haven't been able to. And Jeremy Hall from Breathitt County did a marvelous job. But we were talking about that very thing, in that, how we treat our folks goes a long way in supporting public schools. And certainly we want to always be putting our first, best foot forward. Sometimes it's the only face they see from our school is when they come in for a meeting. And so, what we can do to make them comfortable and really, really, really accentuate the positive, the strength data, what the student's doing well, and it goes a long way with parents, and really, sometimes it may be the difference in that child's life, that positivity. Sometimes I know when, in your own lives, you think about when people tell you you've done something well, you pumps your heels up, and you're ready to go out and tackle something else. So certainly great presentation. You guys have any questions at all? Anything that you'd like to know about parent surveys or parent involvement?
We just can't get them turned in.
So these tips may, the strategies, the different strategies.
And parents' little ball games, they do, and it can tell you.
Go pack
Yes, so
got it in the backpack, right?
sometimes you got to do what you got to do, and get them that way. I hate doing it that way, but there comes a time that, you try and you still don't get any response. So, we've had to get some at ball games, get them completed, and we'll provide the Chromebook for them to do it or whatever. They can do it on their phone with the QR code. So
one of the other indicators is indicator 13. You guys somebody worked at high school or middle school, whatever. This indicator 8 is directly related to that in so many ways. Graduation rate, transition services that we're providing, the programs that we're providing. Indicator 8, you go back to, indicator 13 is your transition indicator, your secondary transition. And so those interconnectedness between indicator 1 and 2, which is your dropout and your graduation rates, and then indicator 14, which is your yo-yo data, and indicator 13, and then parent involvement right in the center of that. When we do a better job providing things for students, and we let our parents know that what we're doing with them matters, and the IEP is a very relevant document, just goes a long way. And so there's some interconnectedness of these indicators, and it's certainly things that districts have to report on. Like, for example, your guys' director, Sharon Moore, she has to do a report, and her director, she's like co-director at Perry County, but he's right now had an accident and has had both knees operated on. And so one of the things that we're getting ready to do is look at transition folders, and we've done that in Pike County as well. And so, reporting on indicator 11, 12, and 13 is so important for directors out to June 30th. And that parent involvement piece goes a long way in really helping bridge that gap between what's going on in the home and what's going on in the school. And so we need to do everything we can. I tell people lots of times, we're in a fight in public education. We want to perpetuate public education. We feel like it's the center of the community and in our region. You know, whether it be in Hazard, Pikeville, Elkhorn City, Belcher, East Ridge area, wherever it might be, we feel like the school is the center of the community, and we need to, you know, take that very serious and make sure that we're, you know, with those strong transition plans, we're doing assessments and we're getting good goals written, and we're getting good instruction and employment practice. And if we can show the parents that we're doing that, it's going to improve that parent involvement. It's going to improve the outcomes for students. It's going to make our graduation rates go up, all kinds of things. So it's all connected. And that's certainly.
And so all these indicators, you know, they go into annual determination for the district. And, you know, like I said, you know, we get a rating, which, you know, with our parent indicators, we try to, you know, get the 25% or more. But we've been wanting more here lately. We've been setting a target for ourselves. But in the end, you know, like I said before, you all do play a role in this, getting it done. Your work helps get these annual determinations for the district. So that does kind of involve you as well with your piece. So.
And so at the district level, Sharon and Harvey both have to be involved with risk-focused monitoring. And so a part of that point system that you get, part of that is parent surveys. And that's kind of how it works. And so if you do a good job with that, and you can get a good annual determination each year, there's additional points for that. And, you know, the audit process is quite a bit lighter if you do a good job in these areas. So.